let's go on down and talk about Canada. And it's my personal opinion that Mr. Carney maybe was reading the room wrong. I know he got upset when Trump came in and negotiated new trade agreements and new tariff agreements, but now he's done the worst thing he could possibly do. He's gone over to China and done a trade deal, and boy, has he got people mad at him. One of the biggest supporters he had in the election was the automobile trade, and now the car industry in China, when they came into the 100% tariff on it. Now it's 6%. You think the automakers in Canada are happy about that? And then they've been draining all the Western resource-rich provinces and pulling that money over to Ottawa. And the people in those areas said, "We're done. We want our resources available to the world, and we want to prosper from it." So Alberta was the first one to step up. They went behind Ottawa's back, and they negotiated a deal for an oil pipeline, and the rest of those resource-rich provinces, 6 in all, said, "Well, if Alberta can do it, we can do it." So they're passing petitions around to vote to get out of Canada. And I believe what's going to happen is, with what Carney's done, it's not just going to be those provinces. If they leave, that's the financial blood of Canada. And I think all of Canada is going to become part of the United States of America. So what is happening? Carney comes back from China, and look what we see. We see the map saying all of those provinces want to join the United States of America. And this is very important. I want you to understand what Carney has done to the people. So if you're hearing this and you're in Canada, especially if you're a politician in Canada, I want you to pay attention. We're going to go to a slide in a second, and I'm going to show you that he's just made a deal with the devil. I'm going to go back. History always repeats itself. And America, though we walk with God, we've been controlled by the global financial elite. So I'm going to take you back to 1989. I'm going to take you back to the fall of the wall in Germany, and an alliance with evil forces. Basically, we had a Polish communist Pope Paul II. We had Gorbachev, the leader of Russia, communist nation, and we had George Bush Sr. And they orchestrated over a long period of time the fall of the wall. And 20 days later, they didn't meet in a government building. They met in a church, and they announced what? The birth of the New World Order. When Carney was in China, he announced his participation in the New World Order, the one world government, the beast system that enslaves mankind. So when we go to the next slide, I'm going to show you what he is going to bring on Canada unless Canada stands up and gets independence and joins the United States of America, because we have a very different economic system than what China has. So folks, this should be your wake-up call. This is what they are currently doing today in China. This is what they want to bring to Canada under Carney. Central bank digital currency. That's programmable currency. That's currency that can be programmed to say you can't buy certain things. You can't go to certain stores. You have economic limitations on how you can spend your money. And then it goes further. So it can control the entire population in that way, but it can target an individual. If an individual says something or does something that they don't like, they basically inflict the full weight of the beast system from the Bible, from the pits of hell, and they say anybody who associates with you, their credit score goes down. Any employer who hires you, their credit score goes down. Any landlord who gives you a place to live, their credit score goes down. So eventually you're ostracized. You can't buy, you can't sell. You are literally put in a situation of starvation. So here's something you need to know that's going to be coming to the forefront in the near future. Look at that picture down on the lower left. That is basically millions and millions of Chinese being tracked every place they go with facial recognition, which chews up huge amounts of silver. And then they have the internet, and they have bots out there tracking them anytime they say anything. If it's even slightly against the CCP, their credit score gets dinged. And then what are the technologies that China has invested in most heavily? Well, it's the 5G, sucking up silver. It's also the EV market with their inefficient lithium batteries that require a lot of silver. It's the wind turbines, which are grossly inefficient and always breaking down and use a lot of silver. And then the worst culprit of all are the solar panels that with this crazy, crazy climate change that we're having, no sooner than they're put into those wind farms, they're damaged by storms, and basically they go into landfills and they're full of toxic substances. So they're poisoning the earth, and all of those technologies are ultimately attached to the grid. Let's take the solar because that sucks up more silver than any of these technologies. If you have a solar panel that's more than 30% efficient, you can't get it on the market. So they want intentionally to keep us in slavery. And then that energy has to go through the grid to get to your home. And there's up to 60% degradation in the transfer of that wealth, that energy that only started with a 30% efficiency to begin with. So Donald Trump is calling the green movement the green scam. And this goes into our silver squeeze. If we look at where our silver is being used, it's in manufacturing. But the place that gobbles it up with least efficiency of all is all four of these technologies. They consume nearly 50% of all the industrial silver. And if we go back to what Trump has been promising us, access to relatively free, clean, renewable energy, to batteries, to hydrogen technology, etc., we will get off of the grid completely. This Green Deal is never going to give us zero carbon because they're all connected to the grid. But if we get virtually free technology, the world changes, the chains of slavery fall, and we can drop the cost of everything that's ever made on this planet, because the central cost of making every consumer item you've ever had is the cost of the energy. So folks in Canada, this is what is going to befall your nation if Carney walks you into fellowship with the central bank digital currencies from China. It's the attempted early release of the beast system. It's going to fail, and when it does, you don't want to see Canada under that system. So please take a screenshot of that or take some notes. This is a very important slide. Let's go on down, and I'll give you the option, the opposite, 180 degrees different. If you go to the next slide, this is the economic system you'll be under if you come to America. So how is it that China has got this beast system in the first place? At one point, going back about a decade, they mined more Bitcoin than any other nation in the world. They kicked them out. Why? Because it didn't fit the structure that would give them the central bank digital currency that they wanted, because Bitcoin was centralized, not decentralized. So America took it, and America now mines more Bitcoin, I believe, than any other nation in the world. And Donald Trump has said we're going to be the crypto capital of the world, and he's put legislation into place that says we are not going to have central bank digital currency. We are going to use XRP as the rails for an economic system that is based on commodities, gold, silver, wheat, every commodity you can imagine that cannot be manipulated like fiat currency can. It puts us in a situation where they can't have bank runs, they can't cause wage suppression, they can't suppress us economically, because it's a system that God has where all of these natural resources have value, and therefore they function within the laws of supply and demand, and they create stability. So what you get, Canada, if you come with the United States, and if you continue this march towards secession from Canada, you get into God's economic system. It's a system that gives us a new economic system that's decentralized. You get privacy because it runs on the blockchain, which shows everything. That's going to give you a lot of things. It's going to give you a look into the economic system so that the money laundering can't be hidden, both for drugs and for human trafficking. It's going to give you the ability to see your election process and have honest elections because it's totally transparent. Blockchain gives you that. And then you're going to go on down. It's going to prevent money laundering. Transactions are digitized, fractionalized, and settled in 3 to 6 seconds for a fraction of a penny. The system we have now runs 5 days a week. It's slow. There's lots of middlemen. So we're going to God's economic system that gives us freedom, that will lead into peace, and it gives us transparency so the global financial elite can't do the things to us that they've done in the past, and they won't be able to do the things that the economic system of China does. So think carefully, people of Canada. Don't allow yourself to be brought into an alliance with the devil, with the beast, to be put under a system that ultimately will determine if you can buy and sell and make you absolute slaves. Let's go on down. And I always like to close with something that's positive. We've used these slides before, but Canada, if you choose America, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get sovereign currency, sovereign borders, honest elections, resource independence, manufacturing prowess, because if you're with America, we'll share our capabilities, our resources with yours. They'll be commingled, and basically we'll be a very, very powerful nation, and you'll be able to have an incredible standard of living. I'll remove regulatory obstructions so that we can have the economic system that we have, so we can build the factories, so we can have a robust economy, energy independence, equitable trade agreements, global financial parity, First and Second Amendment rights. Look at how they're being taken from you if you're living in Canada, and shared values and goals. So there it is. We'll be able to stand together and understand that the angst that we have is brought on us by the global financial elite, and we're going to be able to stand together in unison, the North American bloc, and we'll all prosper by bringing America and Canada together. And there's a country here that I didn't talk about that I think I should go back, because it's a close neighbor to Canada. And what that is Greenland. And this is a message for the people of Greenland. I believe that you have just voted to have independence, as I understand that there's 4 groups, and independence doesn't mean you want to come and be part of the United States. And I can certainly understand, with the forceful rhetoric that Trump's been espousing, it might turn a lot of you off. But I'm going to encourage both the people of Greenland and the people of the EU to look at this from a distance, calmly. Who is the threat that threatens the Arctic? It's not America, it's Russia, and it's China. And as the poles melt, this is going to be one of the most strategically significant regions in the entire world. It's going to be a new, very efficient trade route to the east. And it's also going to be an area that provides national security, not just for Greenland, but for Canada and the United States and the whole Western Hemisphere. And if America doesn't have this ability to block that trade route, to keep incursions coming in, then Europe suffers just the way we do. So I hope that calmer minds will prevail. I hope that Denmark will allow Greenland to have its freedom. I hope the people of Greenland will understand that America needs to have the ability to do what they need to do there to protect these trade routes. And I hope that you will find the way to become a part of America, because I think you will be safer if you do. I think Europe will be safer. I think America will be safer. I think the world will be safer. This is a very, very important decision that is being made. I hope people will be calm, and they will look at it and look at what happens if Russia or China get control of that crucially important strategic asset and that trade route that absolutely is vital. So let's go down, and I think this is probably the next slide, the last slide. And I like to review, trying to bring an understanding. God's in this. And so as we go to this, and we, America, get out from under the slavery system of the global financial elite, and we get back our sovereign government. The heart of America has always been for peace, always been for freedom for the people. And here's what you're going to get. This is a checklist for what is required if the world is going to get out from under economic slavery, out from under the beast system, and be able to have each nation have sovereignty, have a decent standard of living. There's not a nation in the world that can provide this other than America. So you will get, if you choose to come with America, free, sovereign nation that you can trust. That's the leadership of a sovereign America, not controlled by the global financial elite. Diverse and abundant natural resources, sharing resources between Canada and America so that we both prosper. diverse and innovative technologies, the technology of America being offered freely to Canada so that both nations prosper. Leadership in manufacturing and trade. America has always been the innovator of the world. We innovated the Industrial Revolution, the railroad, the assembly line, the automobile, electricity, you go on down the list. We innovated the dot-com revolution. We innovated the computer. We innovated the internet. We are innovating AI. So you'll get partnership with a nation that's leading the world in so many different ways. And when Donald Trump has already made arrangements for us to get free energy, energy is the biggest slave system in the world. If they can control the cost of our energy, they can basically control us through monetary suppression. You can't afford to buy your medicine. You can't afford to pay your mortgage or your rent. You can't afford to do anything because the cost of energy basically controls all the necessities of life. It controls your housing. It controls the money that you have for whatever it is, and leaves you in a situation where you're in perpetual poverty. And going on down, the demographics of the United States are pretty good. Japan and China have some of the oldest populations in the world, and demographics, more than people understand, drive the prosperity of a nation, because you always have to have youth, a reasonable amount of young people, because as you get older, the older population becomes a drain on the economy, where it's the youth that becomes the leadership. It's the youth that provides the vitality. It's the youth that brings in the money that supports the economy that people have to have. And then you have a global language. There's never been the ability of a nation to long control if it didn't have a global language. America, English is the global language of the world. And then you have to protect that, what you have. America is the only truly global military force on the planet, and an America controlled not by the global financial elite, not leading us into perpetual wars, but creating peace, creating economic stability. That is what God wants. He has chosen America to initially spread Christianity around the world, and he's choosing it again to do it once again. We are walking into a period of time where I mean all of the kingdoms of man are falling, and I mean everything that can be shaken is going to be shaken, but it's going to release the shackles, just like when Paul was in the prison and he was bound up, and basically they had an earthquake and the chains fell off and he was free. That's the moment we're in right now. We're in the moment of the Exodus. We're in the moment where we're leaving our slavery and breaking our chains and going to freedom. And America has a very crucial role to play in that. So please, with calm minds and still hearts, stop and think about what's going on. Stop and think about, if you align with Russia, if you align with China, if you align with communism, you're walking right into the beast system. And what's going to happen in Russia going back over there? The Bible tells us. The Bible tells us all of this. The Bible says, if you go to the book of Revelation and you look at the combination beast, I'll break it down for you. I've spent a lot of years and a lot of time in the Bible. They said to Daniel, close the book. People are not going to understand this. But now today we do, because all the symbols that he talked about relate to nations and relate to what it is that we recognize those nations. So we've got the lion. And if you go back and you look on the crest at England, it's a lion all over the place. And the lion in the Bible says it's the mouthpiece. So English is the mouthpiece for the world. And when you look at that beast, in its inception in the Bible, it had wings. Those wings have been taken. Those were the wings of an eagle. And that happened when America stepped out of the beast system and got its freedom. And so now it's America who left that beast system that's going to lead the world into the greatest period of peace and prosperity the world has ever seen. And then we've got what? The leopard, and the leopard we find out is Germany, and Germany is noted for war, and they brought a lot of destruction on the world. And then you've got the bear, and that's Russia. And what does it say? It says, it calls it the sleeping bear. So the governments of the world have gotten ahead of Scripture, because once Donald Trump got in, they knew he was going to do his best to bring their system down. So the Bible is the gauge. I don't care what man tries to do. So this war in Russia with Ukraine is going to end, and the bear is going to be financially harmed in significant ways and take a long, long time to regroup and to get financially back to a position of strength. So the bear, just like the Bible said, is going to go to sleep. So basically, then you've got the Vatican, and you've got something that most people who really don't study the Bible are misunderstanding, in my opinion, and that's Mystery Babylon, which many call the United States. No, it's bigger than that. It's global. It's every ocean in the world, every continent. It's the entire global financial system. That's Mystery Babylon. So they're the enemies in the world. And the nation that God has chosen to lead us out of that economic system of slavery is none other than the United States of America, the nation that left the servitude of Europe and came here to have freedom, to have prosperity. It brought people in and it assimilated them into our culture. And basically, America is the guiding light for the entire rest of the world. So as these things shake and as communism falls, and capitalism is morphed into a completely new system, a system that conserves the natural resources, where we become the stewards of the planet and heal the planet. This is the future we can have. But don't be afraid. God's got it all planned. He knows the end before the beginning, and that's what's happening right now. He has looked back and seen where we were going, and he knows where he wants us to go. And so everything is reversed engineered to break the chains of slavery and to bring us into that promised land that God talked about. So we're having an exodus, but it's not of Egypt leaving, of the Israelites leaving Egypt. It's the nations of the world, all of them being set free all at one time to usher in God's kingdom. So with this, let's go to the last slide, and I've got an announcement to make. I'm finally going to be releasing this book. It's been ready to go for a long time, but God wouldn't release it. I think that I'm going to release it for pre-sale. I just think this is kind of appropriate. I'm going to release it on Valentine's Day for pre-sale. And then I'm going to release the book for general sale on, I believe the date is probably going to be March the 6th. So soon you will be able to buy this book, and look at the name of it, Liberty Crusade, Restoring the Republic. God never gets anything out of order. So the first book was to give you the foundation to understand how America became the greatest nation in the world. And this book is going to tell you how we put a broken America back together, and we use it to lead the entire rest of the world into a period of peace and prosperity, the likes of which the world has never seen. So I hope when this book comes out, you'll buy it. I hope you'll read it, and I hope you'll share it with your children. So right now, that's all we have for today. I've got some very interesting things coming up. We're in a period where everything that can shake is going to shake, and you're going to see some really, really important shows coming up from now until the time that this collapse actually happens. So God bless you all. Be blessed. Oh, and by the way, we're coming into the period of time where God told me that 57 years ago, he said, I'm going to hold you in the cleft of the rock until everything shakes that can be shaken, till everything is on a tipping point. We're there. He said, then I have prepared you to bring out the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. The message you deliver will open people's eyes and set the captives free. That's where we're at. And we need people around the entire world to understand what's going on. So please subscribe to this channel. Please share it. Please get this word out every place you can go. And if you want to follow me, you can go to my website, LarryBallard.com. And the name of this show is Liberty Crusade Official. And we're on YouTube and we're on Rumble. Please join us. Please follow us. The Lord will lead you. He will give me the messages that I need to deliver. I'm not a prophet. I just have unctions that come from the Lord because I've followed what he's told me to do for 57 years, and he's blessed me by giving me insights that people don't have. What he said is, you study, you read the Bible, you read the command, you read all these things. I'll have you travel all over the world, and when everything comes together, you'll be able to stand above the fray, 60,000 feet up in the air, and put all the puzzle pieces together, and you'll be able to give people clarity for what's happening. So come to this channel and you'll get peace of mind, and you'll get clarity, and you'll be able to go through this storm and come out the other side knowing that God walked you through and that he blessed you. Please join us again on Friday, and please join us on a regular basis by hitting that like and subscribe button. It's now time that the world needs these messages. We need you to help us to get this message out to the world. Be blessed.